Hey everybody, welcome back to the Flash training with KeHE. It's Dave here again, and this week I want to bring you a new topic. I want to talk about cheese. All right, we're going to keep this pretty basic. There are a lot of detailed elements that we can get into when we talk about cheese, but just for today we want to hit some basics, and most importantly I want to drive you and drive our team to one of the great resources we have, which is our KeHE.com KeHEcheese.com training site. So we'll get to that in just a minute as soon as I get done introducing some of the top level cheese categories. So basically we all know cheese is made from some type of milk. It's a milk product. Typically, I know these days we've got some dairy-free cheese alternatives. We're not going to talk about those at all. We're just going to keep it to the traditional items in the category. All right, we know that cheese is made from milk, and so we typically are familiar with cow milk cheeses, goat milk cheeses, and in some cases sheep milk cheeses, but searching around the world you can find things made from water buffalo and buffalo milk, and any combination of those milks can be brought together to form different types of cheeses with different characters, flavors, different attributes, I guess, that people might find desirable. So just starting off with that, let's run through the 6 basic cheese classifications or groupings of types of cheeses, starting with fresh cheese. Most people know fresh cheese in the form of something like fresh mozzarella or cottage cheese. These are very moist typically and have a very mild, almost milky flavor to them in a lot of cases. Then we have soft cheeses. Soft cheeses can be very sophisticated. The most common type of soft cheese is a brie. There are things like camembert and other types of soft cheeses that are popular, and they begin to get into categories that are very sophisticated. Second or third, we have semi-soft cheeses, which are things that most people are familiar with. These are slicing cheeses like Swiss, cheddar. They're very popular. They're probably the most popular type of cheese in the United States. And then we get into another category, wash rind, which is probably the opposite. One of the least popular categories in the United States. These are like our stinky cheeses, the cheeses that you think of from watching cartoons that have the fumes coming off them. They kind of plug your nose, and they really are, let's just say, not for everybody. Then we have some hard cheeses. On the table here, I've got a great example of hard cheese. I've got a grating cheese, Parmesan there. Pecorino Romano is another example. These are normally aged quite a bit. They lose a lot of water, they become very hard, and in many cases they are fairly expensive. Then we have blue vein cheeses. Most people know blue vein cheeses for blue cheese. If blue cheese is too strong, you have its softer cousin, so to speak, Gorgonzola. I've got an example of some crumbles here in this cup. And if you look at my table, I just try to have a few things. I've got some aged Gouda, I've got a Grafton Village maple smoked cheddar here, a traditional cheddar, I've got cream cheese, and like I said, I've got the crumbles. So basically, those are your 6 cheese classifications or categories. And most people, when they go into a store, are going to see any number of these and be able to find them pretty easily in the specialty cheese section or even on the cheese wall. Okay, moving on. Let's get into the good stuff. Let's talk about KeHEcheese.com. This is a great resource for people in our company and partners with our company. And basically what it is it's an online training class that people can access and can be signed up for, and it'll allow them to explore several different pieces of training that'll walk them through these different categories and a couple of other different things. Within KeHEcheese.com, you'll find 8 comprehensive training modules, and each module has all of the relative pieces of information that would help an individual understand the basics of that particular area within the cheese category. The first section is history of cheese. Second is cheese making, so how to make cheese, how to turn milk into what becomes cheese. The categories of cheese, which I've laid out for you very simply in this particular module. How to build a cheese display. How to merchandise in a store using cheese. The basics of sensory evaluation when it comes to cheese, and then sampling to customers, and 8, or the last piece or the last module, is customer engagement when we're trying to sell cheese. So any of these modules, once completed, can not only be tracked, but we can provide a history, and we can provide a up-to-date or a current tracking of anyone doing the training. And one of the great resources here is this training can be assigned to team members, and it can be followed to see how they're progressing. And at the end, there's actually a little reward for people who finished a class from vendor-sponsored, let's just call it a reward, for lack of a better way to put it, for completing the training. So that's basically it for today. I'd like to thank you for watching again. I'd really like to drive you to the KeHeCheese.com website. I think it's a great resource. I hope I've explained what it is. I hope I've explained how to find it. And I really want to encourage you to use this resource. We think it's fantastic, and we think it's a great way for our internal team as well as our external team partners to be able to improve their ability to sell cheese. Thanks, and see you next time.